We're going to be making these note cards today, and they're in the in colors, and we're using the Special Designer Series paper. These, like I said, they're all of our Designer Series paper are double-sided, and I'm working with these ones today. Recently on my blog, I made a post using all of our Designer Series papers, and we made these cards, and so there's one in every color. So we have a purple posy, terracotta tile, pretty peacock, seaside spray, and rococo rose. Now when I did this, I took the 6x6 paper and I cut it down to a 5 by 5¼ by 4 so that I could put it on the front of those pieces of these cards, which worked great. But it gave me these extra pieces. There were little strips that were left over from when I cut it off, because of course there's 6 inches and I cut off 4, so I have these 2-inch strips, and I was able to cut those down, and today we're going to play with note cards. And so I'm going to show you how I make the most of my DSP. I don't have leftover scraps because I can turn around and use them on my note cards. The note cards are something that's also in our catalog, and they are fun because they're already kind of pre-made. They have pre-cut the envelope, the cardstock, and they've scored it and included the envelopes. So it's super easy to create cards with these because some of the work's already done for you. So I'm going to show you that. We're going to be working with the Daisy Lane stamp set. This is a new cling set that came in the new 2019-2020 annual catalog. It coordinates with an existing set, which was the Daisy Delight. And so if you remember, the Daisy Delight came with a punch that will punch out the large daisy. Well, that punch will also work with the new Daisy Lane paper or stamp set. And in addition, what they have done is they've made a bundle out of this, and they have added an additional punch. So the Daisy Lane bundle will come with the medium size Daisy punch. And then if you have the Daisy Delight bundle, then you already have the large Daisy punch. So let me bring that out and I will show you. We're going to be using the leaf and a sentiment for the inside, a sentiment for the outside. On the outside of the cover, I used the stem. So I'm going to show you, this is a little note card holder so that after we have all of our note cards done, we'll be able to store them in this and maybe give it as a gift. It would tie up easily on the edge. And this is a really nice little set and allows me to showcase the full in colors and a new stamp set I'm really excited about. So I hope this entices you to want to purchase the new Daisy Lane bundle and the note cards and the DSP that goes with it. I'm going to be doing a special on my newsletter, so hopefully you're signed up for my newsletter and you'll see that I'm going to give a special price on that, or a little extra something, if you guys order that through me this month. So like I said, I started with these pieces. Let me grab another folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this, which is a piece of our 6x6 DSP. And I'm going to cut this down to be the front of my little holder. But this is also how I cut them down for the cards that I made. So this shows you the extra pieces I was left with. And so in order to, I made my other cards. I had these pieces. So in order to use them on my note cards, what I did, because this is 2 inches, I split it down in half. So I had 2 pieces of 1 inch. And then I'm going to cut some strips of Whisper White at 3/4 of an inch, so that it will layer on top. So this will go across the front of my note card. And then this other little strip I'm going to place on the inside, and I'll show you how I use that. I tend to decorate the inside of my cards because I like the way that it coordinates and makes it feel a little more professional. So for the holder, what I'm going to do is bring in my Simply Scored. I am going to score this down the middle this way at 4 1/4. Then I'm going to rotate it 45 or 90 degrees, and then I'm going to score it at 5 1/2. So it's just scored both ways. And then I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm going to line up both of the score lines. So one score line goes there and one goes down here. So these are on the points. So this little point and this little point of where the score line came off are in the track of my trimmer so that I can cut this piece off. So it's just going diagonal from halfway across the middle to halfway down the side. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and burnish the edges. Okay, and then we're going to go back this way. So this is my holder. And then I'm going to take my 4 inch by 5 1/4 inch, and I'm going to layer that on top of here. And then I'm going to take a piece of cardstock that is 5 inches by 375, because that's just a 1/4 inch smaller than the designer series paper. It makes it layer nicely on top. So that will go right on there. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this using the stem from our flower and Garden Green. So you just give it a gentle tap, tap, tap. You don't want to press too hard because these are kind of a firm foam pad, and if you press too hard you will get too much ink on here and you won't be happy with how it stamps. So just be very gentle with our pads. They are very juicy. Then I'm going to bring in our in colors. Now, like I said, these are our new in colors: Pretty Peacock, Seaside Spray, Purple Posy, Terracotta Tile, and Rococo Rose. I was able to order all of them because I went to our onstage convention. And I was able to get the Purple Posy. Mine's a little bit bubbly, so it doesn't give a really good impression, and because of that they've gone back to the manufacturer and said, hey, excuse me, this needs to be fixed, and they're in the midst of fixing that. So I'm going to stamp my daisy onto this, but what I wanted to show you is I took a piece of paper and I just stuck the daisy straight up, and then I punched. So now I know what direction the petals are when I punch straight up. And then I'm going to take my daisy stamp and I'm just going to set it inside that and then pick it up. So this will be easy when I go to stamp my flowers that are going to be punched out. I don't know if you can see that it's kind of bubbly. That's not the desired effect, to have all those little bubbles on there. So I kind of wait a bit, try to get those bubbles to pop. I've also kind of brushed down on the top of it with a spoon. You know, a lot of times I've been able to fix it, but this one's just, it's a little bit wonky. So I'm waiting for my replacement once they fix that. And then I'm going to take my sentiments, and on the outside of the holder I'm going to stamp both sentiments. Ooh, There you go. I pushed down too hard into the stamp pad and it gave me a line. So let's see, what can I do to fix that? And this is a good example to show you how easy it is. You know, if you think you've totally messed something up and you're going to have to throw it away. Now I can either flip it over and I can stamp on the other side, or I can take and layer something over it. And make like I did that all on purpose. You would be surprised how many cards you see on Pinterest that you go, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And it turned out awesome because somebody was covering up a mistake. So there are no mistakes in stamping. There's just opportunities to embellish. Oops. Okay, so there is my cover to my little holder. Now what I'm going to do before attaching everything is I'm going to take some ribbon and I'm going to run it behind so that it's buried underneath of the layers. Makes it a little more neat. And so I'm going to just take a little bit of snail and we're going to adhere this in place. Not quite even. But for the purposes of our video, we're gonna call it close enough. Then I'm gonna take my DSP and I'm gonna layer that over the ribbon. And then I'm going to take my Whisper White layer and we're gonna adhere it over that. We're preparing the parts that are going to go on each individual note card. And what I am doing is I am stamping the daisy 3 times in each color because I'm going to lay them one on top of each other at a little bit of a angle so that it just makes for a fuller flower. And whenever I have something I'm going to punch out, you always stamp first and then punch because you can line it up so much better. You just push the paper in there and you look from the back side and you can wiggle around and adjust it so that it is punching out exactly what you want it to do. Like I said, I put the fine tip glue in the center of each flower and added dazzling diamonds ahead of time so that it would dry before the video went live so that we can glue them all together without making a big mess. Okay, and I'm gonna bring in glue dots. Like I said, we're gonna use these to layer the daisies one on top of each other. And and I'm going to put the glittered one on top. So as you can see, I've just kind of offset them. So there's 1, 2, and 3 daisies. And I just offset it just a tad. I mean, you could totally offset it, you know, perfectly and just use 2, but because I'm using 3, I'm going to rotate it a little. So now I have a daisy in each of the colors, minus the one I've already completed, because in here I already have this one. I don't know if you can tell, but this flower I have totally flat, and on this one I've curled the petals a little bit. So in order to get that look, all I did was I took the bone folder and then just kind of bent them up and rub the bone folder against them very gently. You don't want to go too hard because it will pull them totally off, you know, each petal. You wouldn't want it to do that to you. So just very gently, you're just kind of breaking down the fibers of the petals to have them lift a little bit for you. Now I've got my note cards. Again, they're already pre-scored, so I'm just going to fold them on that score line and burnish them with the bone folder. And like I said, I started out with this 6" by 2", and I cut it down the middle to get 2 1-inch strips. Nope, that's this one. So now I have the 1-inch strip that will go across there, and then the 3/4 inch will go over the top of that. Here we go, where I stamp the sentiment. I'm going to bring back in my garden green, and I'm going to stamp this leaf in the background. Now it's going to overlap just a little bit, and that's fine because where it overlaps is just where I'm going to put my strip of cardstock and my DSP. So see, that's just going to go straight down the middle, and then the flower is going to go over it, so it will hold or hide any of that little overlap of the ink. I'm reaching off to the side here because I have my Stampin' scrub. So I'm making sure this time I get the excess ink off from last time. This is in Rococo Rose, so I'm going to bring this in. There we go. So now I have the sentiment. I always leave my papers that are going to be my strips a little bit long so that I can adhere them and then trim off from the back side, ensuring that I'm never too short. And then I'm going to take the dimensional on the back of our 3 layers of flour and adhere that right there. So there's the rose one. In art school, they have you do things in thirds. Apparently an odd number of something is supposed to be more pleasing to the eye. And so you will notice on a lot of my things I will have either 3 or 5 you know, petals or leaves, whatever I seem to be working with. And that's why, because someone in art school told me that was the thing to do. So I do. For the inside, what I did is I took that other little strip that was left over from the outside one, and I just put it vertically on the inside where it's horizontal on the outside. Let's see, here's my other one. I want to make sure I'm matching the color. The inside, I'm going to just stamp the word smile. So the outside says it's your time to shine, smile. So I will end up in one of those in every color. For the envelope, I took another one of those 6" by 2" strips that I had left over from making my card fronts for the other. And I brought in one of the little envelopes that goes with the note cards. And so it was just the right size to put some adhesive on the back of this flap. And then line this up with that fold. And then I'm going to flip it over and trim from the back side. And so that's a really quick and easy way to decorate your envelope to match as well. It's really cute when you're making a gift set to give somebody like this, when there's, you know, one of everything, to have the inside of the card done, to decorate the envelope a little bit, to just, you know, give it a little extra something to make it gift-like. And then you would put them all in the holder, the cards with their envelopes, and then tie the edge in a bow. So, like I said, I'll finish up all of these. I don't want to make you guys stick around and watch me do the same thing over and over again. That's not really necessary. So hopefully you like today's idea and that you give it a try and make a gift set for someone that you love. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next Monday at 2:30. Thanks for joining me. Bye.